Hello, everyone. My name is Carolyn Cooper, and I am the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Project Lead the Way. And I would like to welcome you to our webinar this afternoon. Today, we welcome educators across the country to discover ways that PLTW can provide an exceptional learning experience for students and to share how to make programs possible through various funding opportunities. Before we begin, I want to share a few tips on how to maximize your webinar experience. We have several PLTW team members joining us today to moderate the Q&A as well as the chat box. So please join the conversation, share your story, and ask questions by engaging with fellow participants and subject matter experts. If you have a question, please submit them through Q&A. And don't worry if we aren't able to answer your question live today, we will follow up after the webinar with additional information and answers to outstanding questions. So again, I encourage you to use the chat area to message about the content as well as network with other attendees. And we welcome you also to take our next step survey at the end of the webinar. So looking at our agenda today, we're going to give you a brief introduction to Project Lead the Way and what it provides you and your students. Then we'll hear from actual PLTW students about their experiences with Project Lead the Way program. And then we will have a discussion with a panel of PLTW Launch teachers and administrators about the successes they've had and how they've implemented and funded their PLTW Launch programs. After hearing from your peers, we will show you what it's like to be immersed in a PLTW Launch classroom. Then we'll share implementation steps and various funding options that schools and districts have. And finally, we'll round out our time by answering any questions. The PLTW Launch classroom experience engages students, sparking their natural curiosity. Time and time again, we hear stories about how excited students are when it's time for PLTW, how students who normally don't step forward are the ones who shine in class, and also about the effect on the teaching experience. We hear how teachers who've reached a burnout point have been reinvigorated once they've had the chance to teach PLTW. From remote Alaskan districts along the Bering Strait to the largest districts in the US, to the single building schools in rural towns, the stories are consistent. PLTW's research-proven, hands-on, problem-based curriculum unlocks students' and teachers' potential. So how does this happen, you ask? The design and content of the Launch program empowers all students with the in-demand, transportable skills, problem solving, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creative thinking, and ethical reasoning, which are all foundational to thriving in and outside of the classroom. The 43 pre-K through 5 modules embed and address standards, including Common Core state standards in ELA and math, and CSTA K through 12 computer science standards. PLTW Launch also provides full coverage of next generation science standards and was designed to intentionally connect to NGSS. And the program offers flexible and scalable implementation that meets schools' particular needs. We know that early and equitable access to engaging hands-on content reinforces language development through authentic learning. Project Lead the Way Launch supports literacy and language acquisition in many ways, through story structure and expository text, through plot and analysis of main ideas and key details. Also, PLTW Launch logs create experience-based opportunities for nonfiction writing and vocabulary development connected to each of the activities, projects, and problems. And to expand access to even more students, PLTW Launch is provided in a Spanish version. This includes the curriculum, teacher guides, and media provided in Spanish, helping remove language barriers and support language acquisition. The Spanish version of all modules are included at no additional investment by schools. We'd like to thank our transformative partner, Chevron, for their generous support in making this version possible. In addition to the literacy and language acquisition support, PLTW Launch also includes the integration of math where appropriate. This provides opportunities to develop and reinforce math skills while seeing connections across multiple curriculum areas. So in this example on the slide, you can see that kindergarten students have the opportunity to practice counting, writing numbers, and placing them on a number line after completing the project, which supports counting and cardinality standards. And more than ever, schools are placing a larger emphasis on the social and emotional learning needs of students. And Project Lead the Way Launch helps you support your students in that initiative. Without going through this entire SEL wheel, just one great example of this is the social awareness component. In PLTW Launch classrooms, students are consistently working in small group settings, collaborating with peers, and providing feedback to meet the needs of others while showing respect. PLTW Launch modules support pathways in biomedical science, computer science, and engineering. They're designed to meet your science learning needs. The curriculum also supports best practices in science education, ensuring an unmatched experience combining three-dimensional learning, our unique problem-based instructional approach, and real-world applied learning. And to prepare educators to lead the learning and build their confidence in subject areas, we provide transformative professional development. So PLTW core training is designed to create dynamic learning experience for educators through powerful and flexible instructional support, as well as an ongoing professional community. Teachers take on the role of student, engage in in-depth exploration of Project Lead the Way coursework, and gain invaluable experience to take back to their classrooms. So the fun part, now that we've provided the big picture of the PLTW Launch program, we want you to hear directly from some of our students. Last fall, we were able to interview students from Southport Elementary School in Indianapolis, Indiana, about their PLTW Launch experience. And so while watching the interviews, please keep an eye out for the transportable skills that I mentioned. These students absolutely possess them. We couldn't be prouder of them, and we hope that you are as well.
My favorite module would be the experiment, where we had this egg in a bag. We worked together in groups to make this Vex robot. It wasn't really a robot, but it was a car. We did lots of experiments to try to make sure the egg didn't break, and most of the time we succeeded, and that's when we knew that our project was the one.
I think Project Lead the Way is helping me as a student because not only is it helping me learn new things like computer programming and such, but it's also helping me learn more about working together in groups and sharing ideas and working together to solve a problem.
The challenge is working in group is to agree on one thing and the best idea for it, and also if we will get along easily or if we will not. So that's why we have to know if we will get the right idea or something for the best solution for a problem as a group.
Something challenging in Project Lead the Way, I would say, is the coding, because before Project Lead the Way, I was really confused about coding and what all the blocks in coding mean. Project Lead the Way has helped me understand the coding better and computer programming. The pulley one about the tiger, okay, so that project, it's been hard to do because of not just the project itself, but the teamwork. It's been really hard to think of an idea to pick up the tiger using a pulley, since we only had a limited amount of materials to build a machine. And so we just continued sharing ideas and we argued over things, but then eventually we chose an idea and it worked.
That's great. Every time I see these student interviews, I am reminded why I do what I do. Thank you to these students for sharing their time with us last fall so that you're able to hear them today. And thank you so much to our panelists for being here this afternoon to share their stories. I'd like to briefly introduce all of you, and then we'll dive into our questions. We have 𝐒𝐲𝐽, the two-way bilingual immersion coordinator with Ramona Elementary School in the Hawthorne School District in California. We have Joey Junta, science lab teacher with Tritt Elementary School in the Cobb County School District in Georgia. And Mr. Junta has been recognized as one of the 2021 PLTW Outstanding Gateway Teachers, so we're super excited to have him on with us this afternoon as well. And we also have Jeff Spencer, Director of Title I as well as Title IV and Secondary Schools with the Perry Township School District in Indiana. Thank you all so much for being here this afternoon. So first, I'd like to jump into the questions and ask you all, what was the initial motivation for bringing PLTW Launch to your school or district? What problem were you solving for? And I'll start with you, Ms. 𝐤𝐫𝐽.
Yes, in our district, we had not purchased an elementary science curriculum in over 10 years. We were already offering Project Lead the Way in the middle school, and we wanted to offer the same experiences to our elementary students. So Project Lead the Way was a perfect fit. Originally, we started our Project Lead the Way modules in our English only classrooms. And once it was made available in Spanish, we were also able to integrate Project Lead the Way in our dual immersion classrooms. We started with one elementary school, and now Project Lead the Way is available in all 7 elementary schools.
Thank you so much. That's fantastic. And how about you, Mr. Junta?
We started Project Lead the Way 7 years ago. We received a grant from PLTW to implement the program with our middle and high schools in the county. And at the time, we were earning or trying to earn, we did eventually, our national STEAM accreditation. And we joined in, we were able to become a part of that grant and implement PLTW that way. And which is great because they're continuing to do it in the middle and high schools.
Fantastic. And how about you, Mr. Spencer?
We started about 7 years ago as well, and we brought it in, Project Lead the Way into our high schools, our middle schools, and we started with one elementary on each side of our district. And so kind of the impetus of that was we also partner with NIET, which works with us on our teacher effectiveness and our evaluation system. And 2 of the indicators in that rubric are problem solving and thinking. And so to bring these rich type of activities to our students, we felt like Project Lead the Way is a great example of that. It's not something that is easy for teachers to automatically just create those experiences. And we felt like this was a great model to create authentic problems for our students to solve, but then also give our teachers some concrete ways to get to those areas of the rubric.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. So each of you, I'd love to ask, what has been the impact of PLTW Launch on your students and also your teachers? And we'll start again with you, Ms. 𝐤𝐫𝐽.
Sure. The original
All right. Is anyone else experiencing audio challenges? I'll pivot to you, Mr. Spencer, and we'll give Ms. 𝐤𝐫𝐽 a chance to get back online.
Okay, great. So one, the students that we heard from already, I was proud to serve as their principal last year. And so I think the results there speak for themselves as far as getting a chance to hear it from their voice on what the impact has been. But our school district is very diverse. We're over 70% free and reduced as a district, and we have a large EL population. And in my school, we were 85% free and reduced and over 50% EL. And so Project Lead the Way gave an opportunity for our students to shine that sometimes academically had struggles. And it came out earlier, and our students that may have had some challenges with literacy or math, they come to Project Lead the Way and they're the rock star coders, or they're the ones that do an incredible job of building the robot. And so their self-image and how they see school suddenly became a place that was successful. And so we felt like that then transitions when they go back to the classroom, they've got some successes to build on. And so we also felt that for all of our students, we would see great growth in resiliency and those transportable skills and persisting through challenges and really critically thinking. And so that's been an outstanding impact on our students. For our teaching staff, my school specifically, we rolled it out in conjunction with project-based learning. And so the year that we rolled out Project Lead the Way, we were able to have a small group trained in project-based learning as well, PBL. And so our teachers that didn't get in that first wave of PBL training, they still got to go to Project Lead the Way and see what hands-on authentic learning looks like. And so then whenever the next summer we trained our entire staff, they kind of had some context for that of what does real world problem solving look like, because our model was co-teaching. So we had our Project Lead the Way trained teacher who is our expert co-teach with our classroom teachers. And then they got that great experience of seeing what does this authentic learning look like? What does high quality teacher strategy look like? So it has just been an outstanding impact for both our teachers and our students.
Thank you so much. That sounds incredible. And how about you, Mr. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫? What's been the impact of PLTW Launch on your students and teachers?
Well, Jeff took a lot of my answers, but I'm going to share them with you anyway. Yeah, I see a lot of the same things for my students. Of course, I'm covering the science standards in the classroom. I could do that a number of ways, but with PLTW, having those open-ended real-world hands-on problems that we're building up to throughout a quarter or 9 weeks, and seeing how the students develop those transferable skills during that time is the coolest thing. Having them working in small groups, especially this year, now that we get to do it again together. We were not able to last year, but working in those small groups and communicating with each other, compromising on solutions to a problem, using evidence from within that quarter, things that they've learned that they're then able to justify their design for the solution to a problem. Those for me are the most special moments when I'm done teaching the science, but the kids are sitting there working together to solve a problem. That's just the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for our teachers, it's the same thing. We do PLTW in the specials rotation. So it's me and another teacher. In our classrooms, though, I know our teachers have come to me and they say the same thing about the transferable skills. They might not word it that way, but they also do PBL in the classrooms. And just seeing them over the last 7 years as we've gone through this STEM journey, seeing the kids develop those skills where they're working to collaborate and critically thinking. The fifth graders we have now have been doing it for 6 years, and it's just such an amazing difference than it was 6 years ago. So it's been fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Ms. Carvajal, I see that you're back with us. So I'd love to ask you that same question. What's been the impact of PLTW Launch on your students and teachers? If we could come off mute.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I apologize for the internet connection in my district today. Our students can't get enough of PLTW. It just really ignited their curiosity in all areas of STEM. Our students went from not knowing what an engineer does to knowing what type of field they want to get to in the future. This is especially significant in our district because we are adjacent to aerospace industries such as SpaceX and Boeing. And our students have actually had multiple opportunities to attend or visit the SpaceX facility. And it's just been a great opportunity for our students. As far as our teachers, they're really inspired by the Project Lead the Way curriculum, especially now that it is aligned with the next generation science standards. Their enthusiasm is contagious, where many teachers are asking to be trained and to teach the Project Lead the Way curriculum. So it's been a great impact on our entire school, staff, and students.
Thank you so much. And just a follow-up question for you. With your focus on English learners and bilingual immersion, what, if anything, has been a surprise outcome of the PLTW program on your students and their language evolution?
It's been a great impact on our students because the students have to collaborate and they have to engage in conversations with that rich academic vocabulary. So what better opportunity for our students to practice those skills, engage in hands-on lessons in the area of science, technology, and engineering. We often find that our second language learners struggle in the area of writing the most. And it's so much easier for students to write about what they're learning with Project Lead the Way. A good example is in many cases, our students are asked to cite their sources. Well, in Project Lead the Way, the students are their sources. And when we first started the program, we would always hear, yay, it's time for Project Lead the Way. And in our case, we also hear, bravo, es la hora de Project Lead the Way. So it's really great to see that benefit in both languages.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Just pivoting just a little bit, I'd love to hear if each of you could walk me through your Project Lead the Way launch program implementation process. What were the steps and how'd you get started? I'll start with you, Mr. Spencer.
Yeah, great. So as I said, we kind of started at a district perspective where we brought it into both of our high schools and both of our middle schools, and then we started with 2 elementaries. And then at this point, 7 years later, we now have Project Lead the Way in every elementary school. So all of our students throughout the district, which I think we're the smallest district represented on the call, but we are the 5th largest in the state of Indiana. And so all of our students have that opportunity to experience Project Lead the Way. And then at our elementary level, I kind of alluded to it earlier, but we use a co-teaching model. So the classroom teacher goes during their science or social study, their science time, and co-teaches with the Project Lead the Way teacher. So we have a Project Lead the Way lab that has a trained teacher that their schedule looks like a specials teacher. So they see first, second, third, fourth grade, 5th grade each day. And then they have the same classroom teacher for roughly 2 weeks to finish a module, and then they rotate to the next teacher in that grade level. And so it's, again, a great opportunity and we have 60 minutes for that a day for our Project Lead the Way. So a large amount of time, and it's great because then, again, as I said earlier, our teachers get a chance to work with the Project Lead the Way teacher. They get to see what that rich science and rich STEM curriculum looks like. So when they go back to their classroom, they have some ideas on how to implement that. So that's been a great thing. And then our Project Lead the Way teacher has taken it a step further to where, for instance, it was a couple of years ago, but infection detection in 5th grade, she used that module, but to introduce the project, brought in our director of nursing and our school nurse and gave the school data around how many kids go to the nurse and how many kids go home sick each day, and kind of challenged the class to how can you reduce this. And so then they worked through the module with the end result being, how are they going to teach the rest of the school ways to reduce the number of our students that go to the nurse. So that's been kind of our implementation model of taking it the way it's written first, but then as we go, adding another layer of authenticity and community partnerships.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thanks for the tie into the real world learning. How exciting for your students and just their classroom experience overall. That's great. Thank you. Same question for you, Mr. Junta. Please walk me through your implementation process.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we were fortunate enough to start the launch program here at my elementary school as our middle school and high schools were implementing their program for the first time in the rest of the district. And I was able to go on a fantastic 3-day training at the time and learn how to implement the program. And I use it in the science lab as a part of the specials rotation. I see the students once a week for 45 minutes, and they're doing PLTW with me here in the room. The classroom teachers are involved with me to an extent that they know what we're working on, and I'll support whatever module I'm working on is supporting the science standards that they're also teaching in the classroom. So this is additional science. Since then, our technology lab teacher has also been trained, and with some of the modules, we'll collaborate together to really hammer home some of these standards. With the infection detection module that Jeff was mentioning, the students have a hands-on science component with me, where we're looking at microorganisms and cells and hand washing, but at the same time, they're running models and simulations of disease spread in the technology lab. So we're helping each other teach the two modules at the same time. That one is just so cool and super timely, obviously. But it hits so many of their science standards for 5th grade. And that's where we're at, but I've seen it done so many ways at so many schools. That the great part about it is how flexible the program is, the curriculum.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. I really appreciate you walking us through that. And the same question for you, Ms. Carbajal. Just walk me through your implementation process. I'm sure our attendees would love to hear from you. And we may have lost her. So I'm going to pivot and we'll watch this, well, if we can't get Dr. Carbajal in the next couple of seconds, we'll just go ahead and pivot to one of the best ways to find out about a classroom, PLTW classroom, outside of hearing directly from teachers and students, is to actually visit a classroom to see the students and teachers in action. But since we aren't able to physically take you to a classroom today, we wanted to provide you with the next best thing. And that's just a 3-minute peek at what your classroom could be. Wow. Thank you to all the students and teachers for their enthusiasm for Project Lead the Way programs. And thank you so much to our panelists for taking the time to share their experiences. Next, I'd like to transition to our presenter for this afternoon, Ashley Benny, Senior Director of School Success with Project Lead the Way.
Thank you, Carolyn. As a Director of School Success, one of my favorite parts of my job is working alongside school administrators and teachers in creating a vision for their students. We just heard from our panelists how they have seen firsthand the way PLTW has transformed the learning and teaching in their schools. But the first step in that transformation process is in creating a strategic plan. And part of that plan is having a detailed view of the required investments and identify the funding sources that you can use to support your program. PLTW programs vary in cost, but each program includes investments in 3 categories: participation fees, professional development, and equipment and supplies. The participation fee is an annual fee that covers all of the curriculum access and software rights for your PLTW programs. To be able to teach one of our courses, a teacher must be trained by Project Lead the Way in our core training experience. This is an online training led by some of the best PLTW teachers in the country, and you just heard from one in our panel, Mr. Junta. Lastly, our curriculum is project-based and very hands-on, so there are some equipment and supplies that you will need for your implementation. So now that we know about the investments needed, let's talk about some funding opportunities to help you grow your programs. Every year, we have a wide variety of PLTW grants available for all the different programs in our pathways. We have grants for brand new programs, as well as program expansion. These Project Lead the Way grants are made possible by our partnerships with leading organizations across the country. And since 2016, we have awarded over 5,300 grants to schools totaling over $51 million. And this year, we have more grants available to schools than ever before, especially in the area of launch. Are you looking to make a bigger impact in your district with Project Lead the Way by adding new launch programs? We have a brand new grant opportunity currently available on our website. Remember those 3 categories of investment we discussed? Well, these new Project Lead the Way grants will cover the cost of teacher training, as well as program participation fees for the next 2 years. Please check out our grant opportunity webpage to find out more and schedule a meeting with your local PLTW team member. We are ready and willing to find out more about your district vision and help you with your grant application. Applying for our Project Lead the Way grants is easy through our simple application process located in your MyPLTW account. And if you don't already have one, you can create this account quickly and easily on our website. Through these grants, we're going to partner with your school and district and help you throughout your PLTW implementation journey and beyond. We award our grants on a rolling basis from July 1 through June 30, so schools may submit applications annually. Project Lead the Way keeps applications on file until June 30 of each year, so we may consider schools for more than one grant opportunity throughout the funding cycle. Our Project Lead the Way grant opportunities are amazing, especially this year, and we encourage everyone to apply. But in addition to grant funds, there are other federal funding options to help you grow your Project Lead the Way programs. The American Rescue Plan, or ARP, just signed into law this year, provides highly flexible, unprecedented funding through the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, or ESSER. This program creates a unique opportunity for innovation, equity, and access within your school. These funds are highly flexible, and they can be used to support all 3 PLTW expense areas. 80% of LEA's ESSER 3 funds are highly flexible and can be used for a wide variety of activities in response to COVID-19. ESSER 3 funds may be used for any activity currently authorized by existing federal law, including Project Lead the Way. Now, we all know one of the main issues over this last year is learning loss. And according to this law, no less than 20% must be used to address learning loss through the implementation of evidence-based interventions such as summer learning or summer enrichment, extended day, comprehensive after-school programs, or extended school year programs, and ensure that such interventions respond to students' academic, social, and emotional needs and address the disproportionate impact of the coronavirus on the student subgroups described. So you can see on the screen all of the things that you can use your ARP funds for. So that includes curriculum for all students, the technology. You can use it to help pay for in-school, after-school, summer learning, equipment and supplies, and teacher training. We also have some evidence-based papers. So we provide pre-K through 12 evidence-based papers that dive deeper into the structure of our evidence-based curriculum. You can learn about our unique problem-based learning or PBL approach, review the research supporting the positive impact PLTW has had on student achievement, and you can download all of these from our website. Is your head spinning yet? There are so many opportunities. And to help you break it down and compare, we have created a funding side-by-side resource on our website. This will help you see what federal funds are available, which ones can be used for our 3 investment categories. And once you get a handle on these funding opportunities and how they differ, you're probably ready to get started. For that, I'm going to turn it back over to Carolyn.
Thank you, Ashley. Yes, we are happy to support you with next steps. First, we recommend that you connect with a Project Lead the Way team member to discuss any of the questions that you have that we don't address today. Next, you can also visit pltw.org, and on our PLTW Launch page, you can use the range of resources like the science standards crosswalks, module descriptions, and the program overview to help you plan your implementation. You can also read blog stories about how other schools have unlocked student potential with PLTW. And then you can also visit our website to access those additional funding resources for ARP, Perkins, and ESSER. And those are found on our funding and grant opportunities page. And then also be sure to apply for PLTW grants at mypltw.org. So this concludes the content portion of our webinar today, but our PLTW team members and panelists will remain to answer any questions you have. So please add your questions in the Q&A. For those of you that won't be staying on, thank you so much for your time. We will launch a poll to find out what next steps we can help you with. And you should see that on your screen momentarily. And within a week, you'll receive an email with the recording of this webinar and additional resources to help answer questions you might have. And if you'd like to reach out to a PLTW team member, please use the link that's been posted in the chat. And this information will also be included in that follow-up email that I referenced. So have a great rest of your day, but if you've got questions, hang on the line. We'll still be here answering questions. All right, I see some populating in the chat. And one question that I have is, can anyone train to teach PLTW? Some folks are saying they've never taught something like computer science or engineering. Can we have a PLTW team member speak to that question? How about Ashley? Okay, great.
I'm sorry, I had to get unmuted and back on video. Can you repeat the question, Carolyn?
Oh, of course, no worries at all. I thought this one would be suited for you. It's just asking, can anyone train to teach PLTW? I've got a question that someone's saying they've never taught something like computer science or engineering. Can anyone teach PLTW or train to do so?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, as I mentioned before, some of the best master teachers in the country. They are fabulous launch teachers, and they will train your teachers to feel comfortable with our project-based learning approach and be able to implement it in their classroom. So it doesn't really matter if they have a lot of background in science or computer science or engineering. We will give them all the tools and skills that they need to be successful in the classroom.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And
Carolyn, I'll just say I had no engineering experience. My background was just science. So I was taught engineering by my master teachers back 6 years ago, and computer science was especially intimidating, just the idea of it. And now it's a language that I know my students need, and I couldn't imagine not having it for so many of the projects that we do, not just with PLTW, but with so many things. It just opens so many doors. So yeah, anyone can do it.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for chiming in there. And there's also another question here. Is there a site for students to collaborate? That came from one of our attendees. I'll take a stab at this one. So I know that we've designed the learning experience so that it can be implemented on a variety of platforms, iOS, Android-enabled Chromebooks, and so that it's compatible, for abilities at each grade. And I think that that's how we've been facilitating student collaboration, but maybe one of our PLTW team members would like to chime in further.
This is Ginger Teague. At this point, we don't have we have a collaboration tool for teachers where they can, called Community. It's found on my PLTW, but we do not have a built-in way for teachers or for students from one school to communicate with students from another school. So just for the teachers at this point.
Thank you. And then thank you so much, Ginger, for chiming in there. And then Ashley, this is just a clarifying question about teacher training. Just to clarify, you don't have to be a teacher to attend PLTW training, do you?
No, you don't. We have a lot of schools that will actually have some of their administrators go through our training. They might have some of their counselors. We have a lot of librarians or media center specialists that will train in order to do some Project Lead the Way launch during library time. So you do not have to be necessarily a certified teacher. We also have some other groups like local zoos or Boys and Girls Club, Girl Scouts, things like that will utilize Launch in their programming as well. And so we offer training to those groups also.
Fantastic, thank you. And then maybe this is a question for our panelists. What kind of support do first-year schools have in implementation? If you could think that far back, do you recall the kind of support that we provided to you all for first-year implementation? Maybe Ashley, you can chime in as well here.
So our teacher went through what Joey described, a 3-day training that allowed her to be a certified teacher. And then the community aspect that Ginger referred to, that teachers can connect, our teacher found great value in that. And so she was able to reach out and send questions and get lots of responses. And then within our district, by the point we came along, there were 6 elementary schools that were doing it. So we had opportunities to create collaborations just among our trained staff, which allowed them to share ideas on how they were teaching units or those types of things. So a combination between Project Lead the Way and then local sports that we created, I think have made our Project Lead the Way teachers feel very supported.
Fantastic, thank you. And I see a shout out in the chat to our PLTW Solution Center as well. So thank you for that, Lauren.
Yeah, I can add a little bit to that too, Carolyn. So in addition to our amazing support by our Solution Center, we do have school success team members all over the country that are there to work alongside your teachers to help them through their implementation journey. We also have a whole special team of individuals called our onboarding success team that they will really guide you and do kind of everything with you through getting started, rostering students, choosing your technology, all of those things through that first year of implementation. So we have those built-in supports as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ashley. And Mr. Junta, I saw you come off of mute. Did you want to add to that question, or were there any other thoughts that you'd like to share?
I was just going to say that I felt supported. The folks who trained me, I still communicate with them. One is from South Carolina and one was from Oklahoma. They were in town to train my cohort, and we still keep in touch today.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. Well, I'm not seeing any additional questions come through the chat, but I do appreciate all the folks that were able to stay on the line, and also to our panelists that were able to help us with fielding some of our questions. Again, please feel free to reach out to us. We will certainly love to keep this conversation going. Thank you again for joining us. Good afternoon to everyone. Take care.